This has been a section that Denis dominated early and then has just not let up. That 1 point lead is still there, Eric. And this is actually a long time since we've actually seen that Hikaru win, that he needs to get back in this matchup.
That's true. I hadn't even thought of that. I mean, it feels like we've seen a lot of the same positions, and just the types of positions are still not what Hikaru will thrive in. I don't know if he's planning on switching in the bullet portion or expecting better results, but I think we have enough. We've watched enough of Denis this weekend to know how strong he is in rook endgames or rook and minor piece endgames.
Yeah, at this point, now this is very likely to be the final game of the 3+1 section. So you start to mentally think ahead a little bit. If this ends in a draw, Denis is going to take that lead into bullet. Even though Hikaru has a great chance, might even be favored in the bullet portion, Denis rates his bullet very highly when his level is high, and we can see that that's the case so far.
It is the case. Outside of that one blunder, hard to criticize almost anything. Even those moments where like we think we should have done that, aim small, miss small. He's not swinging there, and he still has playable positions.
And we've seen this type of position before. Obviously, these guys have gone back and forth. D5, I don't think we've seen this type of position too much now. Closing the center, black is going to react with C4 so that the bishops can be exchanged. The F4 square comes under the control, and now you're going to see the F4 knight. If it jumps in, white's going to have to kick that knight out, and it's a little difficult to do because the H3 pawn's attacked. So there's a few things you can do, like knight to G1. That will help you play G3. So if that knight goes into F4, you have to know how to kick it out. Knight G1 and knight E2 can attack the knight, but specifically G3 after you play knight G1 to defend the H pawn.
I'm sure Hikaru would agree, but he's actually getting poor positions with white. This is not what you want from the opening. A locked position. You're stuck with your light squared bishop, which you can see here. It's kind of blocked by your own pawn. So who has the break? Black has the F5 break, if he so chooses at some point. Shift a rook to F8, play F5, open things up. Also, the knight on F3, is that a good piece? No, it doesn't have squares. Knight G1, which you're suggesting, it's out of necessity there. It's out of to prevent black from jumping in. Okay, Denis is operating on the queen side, though, and I didn't necessarily expect that. And the reason why is which weakness is weaker, and we take a look at the bishops. What I'm worried about, the C4 pawn. That's on a light square, and you can access it. The knight can go to D2, bishop E2. That was unnecessary. That was unprovoked.
Rook C1, I mean, that pawn can be attacked by pretty much every piece in the position. King
Knight
G1,
F4, though, knight F4, very active. Hikaru doesn't like to be on the back foot.
And now there's tactics like rook B3. You have to consider rook B3 with knight E2 tricks.
That's a huge threat. Rook B3.
Well, the blue arrow, by the way, indicating that this is almost the only move to stay in the position. You have to guard B3 again.
It is pretty playable. You know, it's not one of the harder moves that pops up, but, well, as soon as I said that, Hikaru plays rook A5.
I mean, still, a reasonable move. I think the problem is you have to now contend with bishop takes on H3. That's a realistic sacrifice that you could consider playing.
Maybe now you can switch the queen, play queen D8, queen G5, and the problem here is the queen on C3 is a bit overloaded. It's covering B2, but at some moment might need to join the king side and stop threats against G2.
Yeah, you can take on B2. That's the thing, is that playing rook A5 gained a tempo on the queen, but now the B2 pawn is tender, it's hanging, you can capture it, but as you mentioned, you might not need to rush that. Question is just, do you have enough threats to deal with knight takes C4? Knight C4, if you play queen D8 and commit to the kingside attack, you're throwing everything away on the other side of the board. So that's why I think he's going to take on B2, more risk averse. And do we have that idea of something to B3 here?
Yeah, B3 trying to bait this, that's definitely an idea.
Look at this
Bishop
move.
H3, what a move.
I was going to say, where are the double exclamation marks? Bishop takes H3,
and then
fully overloaded.
Is it then rook B3?
I think it might be.
Or you can take and just all the tactics work out. This is, we saw Denis attack yesterday, and he won some great games against Magnus.
Oh my goodness. Watch out for rook B3. I think that's the follow-up. You play probably rook on B2 back to B3 maybe, and then in comes the queen capturing on H3 on the next move. This is all based on knight from F4 into E2 check. That forks the king and queen. The bishop on D1 is overloaded. That's why we keep talking about this B3 square as if it's available.
Amon, I think after take on H3, you can just simply take on H3 and F2 falls.
That's good as well. I don't know how the queen gets in, but I think that could be good enough.
And we know Hikaru's thinking he's not happy. A lot of loose pieces here, and rook A3.
That is a tough move to play.
The rook is hanging on B2 now. That defends
Two
the
things,
queen.
the D6 pawn as well, the H3 bishop. Don't make no mistake, this is a position that
rook
Hikaru can
B1.
win.
He's threatening knight E2.
He
What a
finds the
find by
move.
Denis.
Oh my goodness.
Knight E2. The bishop is pinned.
That was almost the only move to keep the edge. Everything is hanging here. He
And
continues
Hikaru's
to make threats.
About to enter under 20 seconds. Where's the move?
Well, because is he going to play? Okay, queen C2. You can sack there. G2 is hanging with the queen coming into G4 as well.
What do you want? You want to sack here?
I mean, it's very tempting.
Which move?
Rook takes D1, take on C4, take on E4.
Yes.
Just like sack everything in position.
Denis is calculating.
He does do it.
Oh, look at that. Queen and knight.
There's no
This is
forced
tough.
win, but this just looks like the position you want to play. Let's see if Hikaru can defend this. I will be so impressed if you can handle this strong knight here.
It's a knight and 2 pawns versus a rook. So material equal, but we're raiding black because of the king position. Big attacking chances on Hikaru's king. And that loose D5 pawn.
Yep, you want to make a threat like rook A6 to hit the D6 pawn. This is a really tough position to play.
Rook A6, hit the weakness.
That looks like the counterplay you want here.
I do. Hikaru's not a passive defender.
Let's see, do you attack the D pawn now as black? Of course, you don't mind trading queens as black if you can win D5, but you don't want to lose your own D pawn as well.
And at some point, Denis might look to expand a little bit if he doesn't find a breakthrough.
Here it is, though. Yeah, he plays queen b4, keeps the game going in time pressure. The knight is going to be so tricky as time gets lower.
White has way more risk because of the open king, so Denis can milk this.
Yep, you can keep playing.
And he's picked up the pawn. The knight can cycle back to F4, F6, and now it's 3 pawns and a knight for a rook.
I mentioned you want to win the pawn without losing D6. This is now critical. G2 is going to be
Queen
checkmate.
F6. Hikaru doesn't have space for the rook. He's just passive, moving back and forth. Denis slowly encroaching.
E4.
E4 to kick the queen off. Queen
The
G3.
pawn is a protected pass pawn. The knight is so strong. How do you defend?
Check. Preparing Queen G4.
Oh my goodness.
It's made on H1.
Queen G1 and Queen H1.
Wow.
Denis Lazavik.
That was supreme. What a game. What range. He's such a solid player, and this event is his coming out party when it comes to tactical chess and doing against Hikaru out of all people. Even when you play the right attacking move, his ability to scramble and defend is so difficult to break.
There is an exciting final coming up today, but I think the fans that showed up for this match right now are impressed and excited at what they've been given. Denis Lazavik and Hikaru Nakamura is turning into a thriller. 9.5 for Denis, 7.5 for Hikaru as we throw to the host.